Whether you're a controller or a keyboard, this is going to teach you how to edit fast in a relatively short amount of time. To give myself a validity in these statements, I haven't played on a controller in about a month and a half, the entirety of this season and a little bit of last, and this is what my edits look like. So much muscle memory is built up that they're still relatively fast and efficient. I can still quad edit with ease. And my keyboard edits are no exception. I've been on keyboard for about a month and a half, the same time I haven't been on controller for. My edits are already better than the majority of Fortnite players. If you guys not only want to learn how to get faster edits, but also make earnings in Fortnite, make sure you go check out the new Destiny Jesus Solo Superstars. You get coaching from top tier pros pretty much every single day. Link in description. It really supports me if you check it out. The first thing you need to be concerned about when editing is confirm edit on release. Are you turning it on or off? I would personally recommend you have confirm edit and release on, because it is super useful for editing fast, editing quickly, and if you're good at the game, it shouldn't matter your peaks. You can still do a good peanut butter edit with confirm edit and release on, trust me. So how do you turn confirm edit and release on? Head into the settings, go into the game tab, scroll down right here, auto confirm edits will be under the building tab. Make sure it's set to both, because that means you only have to press one button to reset it as well. This doesn't matter as much for keyboard, but if you're a controller, like I've just switched to here, if you edit, you then only have to press 2 buttons to reset instead of 3, which, as you can imagine, is a massive difference for controller players. Now if you've turned on confirm edit and release, which is your main setting to be faster editing, you want to make sure you have a good edit bind. These are all the fundamentals of fast editing. If you don't have a good edit bind, you cannot be a fast editor. Let me rephrase that. You can be a fast editor, but it's going to be a lot harder than if you have a normal bind. For controller, depending on what controller you're on, a good edit bind is left stick, right stick, or touchpad. Touchpad can be a good edit bind as well. Paddle can also be an okay edit bind. I've edited on paddle, I've edited on B, and I personally recommend the best edit button for controller is left stick or right stick. Preferably left stick, which is what I'm editing on right now. Super fast and no issues with the consistency, because once you get it down, your finger doesn't have to leave the left trigger. For keyboard, I recommend just a button right next to your movement keys. I edit with E since it's literally right next to W. It's super easy to get to. And of course I've edit and release on, so it's going to be pretty quick anyway. Keyboard doesn't matter quite as much as controller. If you have a bad edit bind on keyboard, you can rescue it with the fast fingers. However, on controller, it is pretty detrimental to have a great edit button to do well. So now we got the binds out of the way, the most important part of editing fast is edit timing. You see it right here in this drill. I want you to put floors and cones around here to test your edit timing. I just want you to edit them all like this. If you mess with an edit like I did with the last one, let's say you confirm it too quickly and it doesn't go through, that means your edit timing is very slightly off. You see them two I just did? Off. It should be completely smooth and it should look like that. You might be wondering, is this even possible on controller? Well, yes it is. If you want to be a top controller player, your editing has to be just as fast as the keyboard players. So make sure you're practicing your edit timing like so. I haven't played on controller in months and I can still do it perfectly fine because of all the muscle memory I've built up. You might be wondering, what is the point of that? You're just double editing into nothing. That's because you're literally practicing the movements you need for quad edits, triple edits, even with quintuple edits or anything like that. You're practicing for when you need to do a large amount of edits in a row. You can also practice your edit timing on a singular cone like this, just practicing editing. If you do this correctly for a long amount of time, you will see the cone become invisible. Like so. Invisible cone, it means your editing timing is pretty good. Obviously invisible builds are pretty cool, but they are a good drill to test your edit timing, just as a quick test to see if you need to improve on anything. As a quick side note, there are also creative maps you can try out to improve the edit timing. And now we've finished talking about that, let's talk about something else, and that is crosshair placement. It actually might be one of the most important things in the game. Vino made a tweet about it the other day. He said crosshair placement is actually more important than the actual aim itself. And this applies for builds as well. If you have good crosshair placement, the builds will literally look like they're editing themselves. And that's what it looks like when you see Booga play. Crosshair placement is the act of having the least amount of movement in your crosshair for a building edit. For example, on the wall, instead of going like this, you go like this and edit the tiniest little bit. So you still get the edit done perfectly fine, however you barely move the crosshair in the process. The same goes for ramps here. The ramps are a little bit more complicated. If you want to flip the ramp, you can just go like this. So simple, and you can just keep flipping it. You want to make sure you're using it as small as possible. If you want to flip it back, take it on this tile right here and move it to this tile. That is the smallest movement ever, and it's going to completely flip the ramp. When I learned this, it changed my life. Not quite, but you get my drift. It is a massive difference. And you can apply this next time you're doing triple edits too. Next time you do triple edits, edit literally the end here, edit through, then make sure your crosshairs in a good position while editing the cone, so around here, so you end up editing the wall super simply as well. That is the best way to do it. And you gotta make sure your crosshair placement stays top notch, because it also allows you to keep more awareness around your opponent when fighting. You do not want to be the fastest editor ever with no awareness, because then you're never going to be able to hit nice clips with your fast edits. Good crosshair placement is slightly harder on controller, though it's still very simple in the end of the day. You just got to make sure your crosshair doesn't move a lot when you build, and you can see that I'm using good crosshair placement right here. The third and final pillar of good editing is knowing your editing moves. There are a lot of editing moves you can do. Obviously, I mentioned some earlier with triple edits, quad edits, all of that good stuff. However, there are a lot of editing moves that you can do to practice editing. A good little move you can do is just on high ground, practice triple editing down but not moving down. So you don't want to drop into the box, you just want to stay up. This is especially good for zone wars where you want to keep the high ground all time. You editing down like this means you can catch your opponent off guard. If you keep doing it, you're going to get a lot better at it. The same goes for the drop down and the cone. A lot of people do this and they run into the box. This is just creating a 50-50 opportunity. You need to be staying up and dropping down like this. You dropping down, if you drop down on the wrong box, you drop down here, and let's say the opponent is over here. They can instantly mantle upwards and take high ground so simply. You heard it here, folks. Make sure you box and never drop in. Great editing drill in my opinion. If you want to make it slightly harder, you can even go like this and build a wall and jump like that. So you're boxing like this, you then place the wall and jump with the window edit. This creates a way more optimal peak. You can even do this against the wall. This is another good one. If you practice these drills on a daily, you'll become so much better. It's actually crazy. I'm practically triple editing right here and also getting a nice peak. Edits don't have to be stupid. They can be fast and efficient. Another drill that's good for you to do is just editing down like this. I don't do this one a lot and I'm therefore pretty bad at it. But it is a great way to work on the crosshair placement as well as the edit timing. The Ken Beans retake is a good editing drill. Editing like this, building through, and doing like this. You can even repeat it, like so, and just keep going. Again, showing the controller players that you can do these drills on controller. Admittedly, I'm not as good as them because I don't practice on controller. But if you guys actually practice, you can be so good. I guarantee if you gave me 40 minutes, I'd be as good at that drill as top tier pros on controller. And the final drill I want you to work on for edit speed and timing is this one right here. You're just going to go forward, you're just going to edit the ramps and the walls. Or you can do it with cones. You can really switch it up. One round do it with cones, one round do it with ramps. Cones is probably slightly harder in my opinion because you need a little bit of that crosshair placement. But both are pretty easy. This has been your editing class. If you want a part 2, then make sure you like the video and comment down below so I know you want a part 2 of this video. I'm doing my best to create the best content for you guys. I only switched to keyboard permanently this season and I think I've improved so much already. And after a lot of time in the competitive scene, I feel like I do have things to teach you guys. Again, check out the Solo Superstars, link in description. There's only 25 spots available, so make sure you get there fast and watch the video on screen right now. It is an absolute banger. See you guys in a bit.